Recording.
Thank
Hold on.
you.
Okay, recording is in progress. Who are you and why are you here?
That is a wonderful question. Thank you for asking, my dear friend, and thank you for having me, whoever I am right now. My name is Judy Batista. I am first and foremost a mom. Been here in Warwick for the past 33 plus years. Let's see. Second, I am a mental health and suicide prevention advocate. I'm very passionate about that. I have 3 kids. I have a grandchild, and I have one in heaven, unfortunately. We lost our son 16 years ago, April 26, 2008. And that is the reason why I'm here speaking to you, the reason why I want everybody to know about mental health and suicide prevention. And that's why I became an advocate.
Sending you hugs through here, because while you have that coat of armor pretty thick, I can only imagine losing a child, and I can't even imagine it. And so, I'm a very big empath, and so when you tell me that with a smile on your face, meaning you've masked it up, but I know there's still hurt. And so,
of course,
here, Judy.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for being.
Do I have permission to record this and share it with the world?
Absolutely. Listen to me. This is my healing journey. Like I said, thank you for having me, because this is part of my healing journey, and it's been so since day one. And we, as a family, were really, honest about it when, it was not very good to, speak about it 16 years ago, because of the stigma, as you know, right? So that's why it's important for me to share with the world how, yes, I do not want you to imagine or to be in this place where we are as a family, losing a loved one, which is why I'm here to tell everyone that, about the prevention part of it, and how, and to speak about it, and to do everything possible that you can to look for signs in your loved ones and try to help, because it is very preventable. It is very preventable.
Well, just to say, this is going to be a Waterworks Possible episode. My not sponsored by Total Home from CVS, but I buy them over there. It's a good value. And I learned a long time ago going through a tough time that Shakira is wrong. Women don't cry, more. I think they need to cry, but I think it's understanding what the tears are for. The eyes I found during my tough time, and it's a whole longer conversation, but eyes are the windows to the soul. And sometimes we don't see things the way we need to see things. We have emotional processing. And sometimes you need to kind of clear it all out, because if it stays within you, the hate, the anger, the frustration, the sadness, then it boils over. And then it manifests into something else, which we don't want. So I'd rather cry and be like, wow, I felt what your pain was for a brief second. And even though I don't even know a fraction of what it feels like, I got to put it aside and move on. But that being said,
listen. This is it. This is real, all right? And a lot of people ask me, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you can, like you just said to me, with a smile on your face or what have you. Well, that's something that doesn't come overnight. And that doesn't mean that I don't cry. And it doesn't mean that I don't cry physical tears, because for us who've lost someone, and as a mother, you're continuously crying, okay? This is something you live with. This is something that's every day. This is not just an anniversary or anything like that. This is something that we live in. So crying for us is internal. And I've learned to, the coping mechanism, that kind of thing. But believe you me, I schedule my crying time right now. And I'm like, this is my time. It's part of healing. And everyone is different. And yes, tears equals love. The more you love, the more the tears. And sometimes tears they're not all bad. And that is the problem. People want to stop you from crying. I will not stop anybody from crying, because that is a healing. That is, an outlet. And that just shows you how much you love and how much human we are. We're our emotions. Hello.
Yeah, well, that's with me personally. I feel that I learned every tear. First off, it's every tear. These included too. Every tear isn't a sad tear. Sometimes they're tears of joy. But I'm sad to say, really sad to say, that you are one of at least a handful of people that well, it's funny, the technology just popped up on the window. When I raised my hand, it said, "You're about to raise your hand." Right now, and this technology is great. Thank you, Zoom, for making this awesome technology, because back in the 90s, when I was doing video in high school, this technology wasn't even available. So now what I'm trying to do, give people a voice, give people an outlet for sharing their message, the conch shell, right? You give me what it comes in and I put it out more refined. It's one of those things where straight up, like, people need that kind of outlet. And if any way I can help amplify your thing. But what I was going to say before I put my hand up was that I know at least personally, at least 5 people that have lost a child to different things. And, you know, whether it be, I don't think any of them were specifically suicide, you know, but I think, to me, mental health is a lot of different things. It could be a substance abuse. It could be depression, where you neglect your body, and then those things manifest into a greater illness. And so I can say, sadly, at least 5, if not many more people, personally, that I know. And it's sad because I feel like we're in a cycle where we can't get out of it sometimes. You know, I when I say I feel like that, but then I see people like yourself that are doing things, and I say, well, you know what? As sad as things are, there is hope, because people are doing the best to get to that next level. And sometimes it means scheduling crying time. And sometimes it means asking for help. And
right.
I think that's the big challenge. So one question I want to throw out there, because this episode, hopefully no one watching this has any sort of mental health issue or any sort of problems going on. But if you do, there's now a national number, not a Warwick number. It was confusing at first when I came back to Warwick, because 986 is our phone number, right? And the number is
988. And guess what? 988 is also part of our exchange. So we have 986, 987, and 988. Now I had nothing to do with making the national number 988. However, I did advocate very, very a lot to legislation through the organization Foundation for Suicide Prevention. We had stomped up to Washington, D.C. and said, listen, that 800-273-TALK was the one that we had, which was a 10-digit number. That and if no one understands what that is a suicide crisis line. Or any kind of crisis line that you can call. And for anyone that's in crises, that's a long number to, kind of remember. So we wanted to, as advocates, we wanted to make it a little bit shorter, similar to like 911 or any other numbers that's out there now. And so the 988 is specific for mental health, substance use, or suicidal crises, but also for anyone that is looking for support in the middle of the night. You need a little support. You may not be suicidal. You may not be in crisis. You may not have even a mental health condition. You're having a hard day. You want to talk. People want to talk. And sometimes they may not talk to, people that they know, whatever. And so these are trained counselors behind this lifeline. And that's why it's called a lifeline. There's also other things called warm lines, but it's just an available resource that's there 24/7, confidential. Of course, if you're going to have, if you're having, a crisis of some sorts, they're going to look for different languages that you're saying, like you want to end your life, that kind of thing. So yeah, they will work together with the resources that are available in each state. And we're so lucky, I'm telling you, that in Orange County that we have the national 988 number, and we also have the 311, which serves in Orange County itself. And then, of course, we have for emergencies 911. And believe you, it all works together up here in the cloud. I call it in the cloud, right? And the internet cloud, because those other resources that are here, nothing is perfect, of course, but we have that. So at least anyone that can, for any age, can connect with that.
So at the very least, you can call 988 and get that connection, get the other resources, because some of those, I mean, I could probably go through like the credits at the end of a movie, like there's a lot of resources out there. Each community has its own set of resources, and there's national and county and all that stuff. So there's help. But what I found personally, because believe it or not, during the pandemic, I called one of those numbers. I was down in Florida and I called 311. I just didn't know what else to do. There's things crumbling in my life, and I'm like, Well, I didn't graduate from college. I'm only 2 classes short. I'm an educated man, and I'm a very methodical person, and I have a big heart, and I'm always doing my best to do the right thing. And sometimes, even no matter how much you try to help people, they don't see it that way because their point of view might be different, which I've come to terms with. Not everyone can get inside this head, but they're going to, because I'm going to be becoming more transparent as the days come in the month of May. My goal by the end of May is to be fully transparent. Now, you might ask, why, Johnny, are you not transparent now? Well, haters hate and players play. And I don't think I'm really either of them. I mean, if I'm a player, it's only a player in the state of mind that I make work my play and I play my work, as the great Dr. Sattler advised me. Do you know Ed Sattler? He's from Green Team Real Estate. He was my earth science professor in high school. He's touched so many lives, and I think I'm a better person for having known him. That being said, sometimes you get stuck in a funk, and I don't feel comfortable sharing who I authentically am because of judgment and people trying to hold me back, and people trying to get me to be their way as opposed to let me be me, which leads into a whole other thing. I think that's where a lot of autism comes from, people trying to communicate and they can't find a way, and they get suffocated, and they don't know how to express themselves. Much to me, that becomes this whole mental issue on its own. But when it comes back to what your mission is here, which is mental health, having an outlet by far most important is step one, but being comfortable to be your authentic self kind of comes hand in hand with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said a lot. That's a lot to unpack, exactly what you said, but I definitely followed you on all of it. And you're right. We do need to be more authentic, right? Authentic meaning that we need to talk more about it. Whatever you're going through, just be transparent. To me is like, listen, I feel you. But I too am going through some kind of a mental health condition, or you don't even know if you're even diagnosed for whatever the reason. But just the fact that, you're open and say, I need some help. I'm struggling with whatever it is that I'm struggling. And just having that human connection, I feel, is the best thing. We do not have, nobody has any of the answers. All right. But we do have that ability to share, our emotions, because we're all human, right? And so again, what you have right now is amazing. You're having this podcast, this open forum, and you are going to take this to however it is you're going to take it, because this is your prerogative as a citizen, as a human being, and as someone that wants to share their inward parts, and I feel that is so good, because not to mention, and I commend you for it. It's brave, and it also, on the other side, really has a lot of responsibility too, right? Like, let's just be honest. I mean, it's media, and it's a form of media, and we have so much of that all around us. And I am very aware of, the power of media, right? Like the power of having a mic, whether it's a podcast or not, how to disseminate the right information, how to be authentic, as you said, and say, this is what I'm going through, but also like, hey, there's hope. And these are some resources, and you don't have to be like me right now, but I'm sharing me. So, but if that touches you, that's fine. I mean, I think that's awesome that you can do that. And again, I as well be, have some kind of, responsibility to say, okay, now, like you just said, 988 is a resource. We can talk all about this, and it is good to talk about it, but let's talk about it in the right way. And that's what Warwick Cares is about. That's why I brought you along
here today, because of the fact that you've got this event coming up. May the 4th be with you. You're having it this Saturday. And I know we're running low on time here, so we're going to talk, because I told you 15 minutes.
You did.
we might be able to have 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, just to keep this work going. And what would be fun if we go from like this podcast to maybe go to an Instagram post or Facebook thing, to really spread it out. And it only takes a little bit of time here and there from your busy. I know you're a busy person, but the more authentic, media that's being posted, not this AI stuff out there, actual intelligence, people actually taking the time, putting their hands in there like you and your team are doing. So first, let's get to that information. It's Saturday, May 4th at Railroad Green from 12 to 4. And what can people expect at this event?
Oh my goodness. Well, this is our second annual, and this is, I call it a drop in the bucket, okay? A drop in the bucket because it's just part of the awareness, which I'm going to tell you in the last 15 years, 16, since I've been involved in this as a mental health advocate after my son, I do see a difference. I do see that there is hope. I do see more people talking about it, right? Like we were open and honest about it from the get-go. And like I said, it was part of my healing journey to go out and do all of this advocacy. That's just how I grieve. People grieve differently, and that's okay. So, but for this particular event, it is basically, a showing of, hey, there's a community.
Oh, your audio cut out. Your audio cut out.
I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was somebody calling me on my phone.
Okay.
So you can, edit that one out. Yeah. So to me, this event is a community of people behind you. And that is, I hate to say this marketing term because that's what it is, a target audience. Our target audience, which are people, human beings, are those that are struggling. I don't want to preach to the choir here because most organizations do know. But this is for them. Anyone that's either driving through here, just like our signs, some of us, some of you have seen the signs that we have of the resource number and messages of hope, real simple stuff like, hey, there's hope, like, hey, you're loved. Those kinds of, and I'll tell you how we get to that. But this event, May 4th, is going to be from 12 to 4. We're going to have, it's a little bigger this year. We may need a bigger venue next year, but it's about 20 organizations, mental health and wellness, and we're going to have some performers. We're going to have speakers, amazing speakers that are coming, talking about other different, types of segments like PTSD. As a matter of fact, you mentioned the 988 and the 311 in Orange County. We're having one of the mobile response team come and sort of talk about that. How does that work? Because it is confusing. People look at the signs and they're like, what is 988? Or what is 311? And how does that work? And what does 911 have to do with it? So all of that information that people need to know. So it's definitely information, definitely resources, but most of all support, by the way. The fire department will be there with a little touch-a truck for, for the kids, and, EMS will be there. National organizations like NAMI will be there. AFSP, of course, will be there. The community center, local people will be there. I feel that it is exactly as it is. It's an awareness event that we so need in our community. So not only just for our own information and resources and perhaps our loved ones, but for anyone, which could be anyone, right? That is struggling, that is, having a mental health condition, that it doesn't feel like they're being heard, that doesn't even know where to turn to. We have like information overload, right? People Google things all the time and it's like, all right, so where is it in my community? So that's what we want people to walk away with. It's like, they're right here. It's an option. We're going to have Nourish Your Mind. There are a counseling center that is here. I believe the We Care van is going to be there as well. The police department is going to be there, and they're going to be making hot dogs for us. Like, hello, serving the community. So it's community people, families, organizations, all in one green, just at least saying, hi, we're here. You're not alone. And we're talking to anyone that is in need of help, anyone that could be, either struggling or going through, and don't know where to turn to and feel like they're alone. So this way they know, wow, there's a community and it's okay not to be okay, right? It's okay to feel this way because, and just a feeling of being loved and heard. And that's where our little signs come in, because we ask the community members of all ages, from middle school to, senior citizens. The hospital is also involved, our community hospital. They made up signs. I asked them one question. I said, what message would you like the community to hear? And the community meaning anyone that may need to hear a special message of hope. And without any complicated, theories or diagnosis or any of that kind. And, you really have to sort of like, dig deep. And guess what? When you do that, when you dig deep and you answer that kind of question, you go down to your basic human core. And what is that? The connection that you want. Hey, It's okay. Just be like, hang in there for another day. Tomorrow is a new day. Those are the types of signs that we're getting. There is hope. There is help. And 988 numbers. So listen, that was what is the most impressing to me when I saw these signs, because we got a lot of submissions, right? And we try to make them into lawn signs and all of that
Yeah,
wonderful
yeah.
stuff. But that was like, it was so impressive to us and eye-opening to say, you know what? We don't need to be so complicated. Like it could be really simple as, hey, you're loved. I love you. I hear you. I'm here for you. It's human connection. And it did not fail when we asked the seventh graders all the way down to the senior citizens, even hospital staff, and we're talking about doctors and, therapists, whatever, they came up with the same types of messages. It is incredible. And they even like made artwork. You got to see this because we leave it as is. It's really so inspiring. And it's just like, wow, this is the level of all is said and done and all the information that we have there and all the knowledge and all that stuff. This is what it comes down to. Human connection. I hear you. I see you. There's hope. I'm here for you. And at the same time, it helps them, the person who's writing the signs, to kind of introspect and say, hey, it's really a message for them, right? Like we're kind of
Yeah.
mirrors of ourselves.
I think that that's the overall arching thing. When I've gone through my roller coaster of depression and stuff like that, it's usually connectivity that brings me down and lack thereof. So how I met you was through Rachel Bertoni over at 54 Main Street, and where I'm at right now is over here in the Creation Station, where we're gonna be doing black light art, and she's doing watercolor class this Thursday, and she has these ideas for sipping paints that are not sipping paints drinking alcohol, but just like people hanging out, bring some tea and chill out. Because and I think when people have to go to bars and restaurants to drink alcohol just to make people, then it kind of adds into that whole substance abuse aspect of mental health. So what we've created here at 50 Main Street is a creative place you connect with people
It's
and
an
just
option. Yes.
give them a talk to people.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
absolutely. We're not judging. And that's the whole thing. We're not judging. We're not there to like, "Oh, you shouldn't do all of that stuff." But, we know that there are issues. I mean, it's no, it's no secret, right? Substance use, suicidal thoughts and crises, mental health conditions, all of that. And we address that and we create that awareness and then point the people in the right direction because we're not the therapists, we're not, the professionals, but that's what people like us, advocates, we call ourselves. Even though I am trained in a lot of different things, but that's where I am. I'm not going to be, diagnosing or treating, but I'm going to tell you, you know what? You need to perhaps or like consider, seeing seeing a therapist, go see a doctor. And of course, we have training is another piece of what Warwick Cares does. And training is on a very basic level too. Because yes, you have clinician trainings, we have youth mental health first aid, but just on a basic level, last year when we launched, we did about 14 of them in the community, 14 trainings. Whether 5 people showed up or 50 people showed up, we did it. And this is basic 101, what signs to look for, what is mental health? How can you see signs in your loved ones? Because that's what I'm concerned about. Like I didn't see the signs with my son. Of course, I see that I see them now of what
yeah,
perhaps, but in the moment, a lot of people miss them, and we miss them because, as loved ones, as mothers, we're or parents, we're emotionally connected to them. So, we're not the professionals, so it's harder to see in a loved one. But as friends or whomever, like we're the first point of contact for people to at least open up about whatever they're going through. So we need to know what those signs are. So that's
yeah.
part of our training.
Well, and I think like that's where everything kind of comes full circle, because when I talk to you, it's like podcast. My idea for this podcast is just to give people a voice so you can solicit a conversation, and then maybe you can hear some of those signs and stuff like that. But if you're not even having the conversations and not making that connection, then it's hard.
And
And
it's
so
also, remember, it's also different for everyone. That's one thing that we learned that we, teach. It's also very different for somebody. So what your sign could be completely different than somebody else's, right? So, but the beauty of it is, as a loved one or as a family member or friend, you're the closest thing to them. So that's, we kind of like sort of teach and say, hey, you know what? If you notice somebody's having a different kind of, behavioral or, either whatever, sleeping more or just whatever the signs may be, you would know that that person has changed because you're the closest thing to them. So don't be afraid to ask that question. People are afraid to, that's the last thing they're going to, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Ask them, are you feeling suicidal? I mean, that question is really difficult, but we have that training and presentation to, to show people what signs to look for and how to speak, how to talk, how to ask that question, and how to lead them into the proper support that they need.
Well, I can't wait till Saturday, but I think we have a lot of work to do up until that event. So how can people help up until Saturday to give support? Do you have an Instagram account or a Facebook account?
Yes, we definitely have it's pretty simple. Warwick Cares New York on Instagram, and Warwick Cares Mental Health Initiatives on Facebook. And we have a link tree now. We're a very new organization, so like we're like starting, and we're right. We're not we are not for profit, not non-for-profit. So, but we do work through our fiscal sponsor, which is the Warwick Community Center. So any donations anybody want to give to will go through them. However, those donations that's what they go to. When you see those signs and the work we do, we're all volunteers. This is like, I have a beautiful team and I want you to meet them because I want them to come on your podcast, right? They are amazing. We have a great graphic team. I don't know if you know Hannah McCarthy, Mariah Halstead, and Mary Calora. They're like the graphic arts team where they take these signs and turn them into something amazing. And then we have, oh goodness, we have an amazing team. Everybody can go on the website and see. Joey Agrodnik is also part of it. She's part of EMS. We got some good people. We have trainer, Christina Hody. We also have my wonderful right-hand person, Jen. She's just, I could not do it without my beautiful young team. I call them my daughters/sisters because, I'm a little older.
Well, it takes an army, to combat mental health illness, right? I think you've established a good staff. It sounds like you're very excited about them, and they sound like they look like they've been doing good work.
And
I saw the sign.
Volunteers, exactly. When we first started last year, it was a little concept, and the town and the village, were very, supportive of this. They know it. We need to. Unfortunately, we have gone through tragedies in our town, and this is why working nationally and statewide on these issues with other organizations. I said, listen, our town right here. This is where I live. This is where my son lived. And this is my community, and I know that you got to think global and act local. And so that's how, we got to that team, the supervisor and the mayor were very on board. So that's why I became Warwick Cares, because I really do believe that Warwick does care. I mean, there's a lot of caring people. Look at all the amazing things we do with so many different organizations, right? And so many different causes. And mental health is one of them. And an encouraging part too is that there are other organizations like the Green Team, right? They have like a Team Up for Hope with Wayne, We the People, the Warwick Valley Coalition. We all do this work, right? And we're individually doing these amazing things as organizations. But I have to tell you, you're so right on target when you say we need an army. We need an army to combat. Of course, as you know, the statistics have gone up. Even though there's a lot of hope, but we need an army of people to get together. And as a community, it's all about saving lives. It's all about saving lives because, I don't want anyone to lose a loved one or anyone. And so
I mean, there's so much man on your time is very valuable. We went like well over our time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share the link tree. Link TR, LINKTR.ee/Warwick Cares New York. That's how you can get all the information.
Yes.
Donate. There's ways to volunteer your time. I'm sure you could use an army of people to help get ready for Saturday, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. We could use volunteers that day. And if it's kids, you can get school credit for it. I mean, just reach out to me and we'll definitely put it to work because not only we have this event, we also are having like our training. We're going to be doing some tabling events throughout the year. And we also have a new thing called the Starfish Social. I'll tell you about the Starfish. I'm going to send that to you. I don't know if you know about that.
Let's save it for another episode, okay? Send it to me.
Yeah.
But, let's get in touch. At least, can we commit to at least 5 minutes a day?
Oh my gosh, you're so cute. I would love that. I would love to just come in 5 minutes a day and chat with you and say, hey, how you doing there, Joe?
Just a quick 5 minutes, and then so people see our faces. They're building up. We'll build that army for Saturday, May the 4th. Hopefully, they're not empires. They're rebels. If you know Star Wars.
Well, the rain day was going to be Cinco de Mayo, so it's either the Force be with you or Cinco de Mayo. But listen, I want you to also know this is a celebration. You know why it's a celebration and we call it that? Because it's this goes back to 1945. With the mental health initiatives, and the Mental Health Awareness Month was actually proclamation. But it's a mental health celebration because we have to celebrate our health. When people think mental health, they think of something wrong, but that's not true. We all have mental health, right? And we all need to, just like we have physical health. So we want to celebrate that. We want to celebrate the health part, and we want to create the awareness of, hey, just like our bodies, our minds can, get sick as well. And so how do you address that? And that is the hopeful part, is that you can. And mental health is physical health, right? As well as spiritual health. I mean, we cannot separate, those components. It's just what makes us human in one.
The body's a temple, right? The body's a temple, and our mind is the driver. So if your driver is all over the place, especially with the way technology is like in our face, it's nonstop. There's no moments that's why a lot of times, even though I work in tech, I shut it all off, and I rode to Stanley Deming Park yesterday without a phone. Without a phone. I rode my bicycle. I got my
Congratulations.
lunch over at OPA, and I brought it with me, and I sat there on Stanley Deming Park at the stage, because I think that's the next spot we're going to have it next year, in Stanley Deming, in that big backyard with bands and music and people, and show Warwick how much it really cares. Because
I really do believe that Warwick cares. And that's what it comes down to. And we see it, we witness it. I speak to a lot of people that have lost, and that is the key right there. They want to speak to somebody else that have been there, and just caring and love and support. That's what people need. And and here on the prevention side, and this is what we need to prevent, right? And we need to create the awareness. But it's like, well, then now what are we going to do? What are we going to do with this information? Well, we could only individually, one starfish at a time. And I'm going to tell you about that for the next podcast. But we can just connect to our loved ones and learn as much as we can, and keep the conversation open. Let's not be, judgmental and, right away try to like, oh, that's because of, this person is this and that. No. Listen, this is no respect to a person's place and or status or anything. This can happen to anyone, no matter who you voted for, no matter how much money you have, and or lack thereof. But yes, there are things that we can, as a community, as a society, make it better, right? Health, right? Health, the health system, all of the things that need to be addressed, equity, equality, the whole 9 yards. So yes, so there are available resources and professionals to do this. Our job here for now, for me, for us, for Warwick Cares, is to have this open conversation. We can no longer keep it under the rug, or leave it in our families. I encourage families, please sit around the dinner table and talk about this. Does this run in my family? There's 3 factors: environmental, there's genetic factors, and there's physical factors that can affect someone's mental health, for mental health conditions.
Even you just saying that, sparks a thought process for me. Is the 988 number, you say, if you're feeling suicidal, you're feeling lonely, could it be for a family member that is dealing with someone?
Yes.
Because someone that's going through.
Exactly. Okay. So exactly. That's what I hope I kind of mentioned that before. So anyone that's going through a hard time, whether you are a caretaker, believe me, I'm a caretaker, and I've used it, and it's helped me. Just because, let's say it's 2:00 in the morning and your therapist isn't in, and you're like, I really need to talk to someone, and my girlfriend is not picking up, and what have you. So that resource is there, and it is 24/7 confidential. So it's different than calling like a 911, because that's an emergency response. But by all means, please, if you need those emergency responses, they're there. So we're very fortunate that we have those resources. The 911, of course, 311 only works in Orange County right now, but they do have an 800 number. and then 988. And believe me, I've had this experience. I know that they all work together in the cloud, as I said, and it's all there for us to, utilize and realize that, we can. But the main thing, all right, the main thing, as we talked about, is human connection.
Human
That's it.
connection.
Human connection. So you see those little signs and you're like, what the heck is that? Those little lawn signs that we have out there right now, we could only do lawn signs. Hopefully we'll do more. It's just a start. It's a start. It gets people wondering. And believe me, if anyone is driving through here, so it's not just for Warwick. So, we're like have county roads here. We have interstate highways, whatever we have. If anybody's driving through, imagine the impact, right, of anyone that is going through anything. And all you do when you're in a situation like that, when you are in a sort of crisis or mental health condition and you just need that support and that encouragement, is you're grabbing for something, whatever that is. And you see a little sign that says, hey, it's okay. I think that is what's going to, be the impact. It may not be quantifiable, right? When you look at it, oh, how is it working? How do you know it's working? Well, you know what? We don't, and that's okay. It'll be great. It'll be great if they come
Well,
back and say, "Hey, you saved my
it
life with
works.
your sign."
It is quantifiable in the fact that if we look at a society as a whole, and people are smiling and they're happy and they're being authentic, not just smiling and then they go, blah, 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 because I've met people that smile to your face and then they turn and they go nasty. But I think if everyone's in a state of peace within, then it's working. And if everyone can
I think I agree with you in a way, because I feel, yes, that is the goal. The goal is to help somebody to reach that one person, one at a time, whomever they're going to reach. I mean, like I said, it would be quantifiable if they say, oh, thank you so much. Your sign helped save my life. Then we'll be like, wonderful. We can tally that, right? But it's not meant for that. And so that is interesting. That's the beauty of it. But what is quantifiable is this: the community involvement. The community involvement of all of those people that decided to say, I want to participate in this. I want to be part of the solution. I want to help in whichever way we can. I'm going to just write a sign and put it out there. That is the quantifiable part, because that is going to, connect this with this. And so that is part of our purpose and our mission. And yes, we hope for people to be, nice and peaceful all the time, but that's not the case. Obviously, it's not realistic. But even if those signs will help you with that, that's good. But if they don't, guess what? Then that will perhaps, the person will realize, hey, this is making me uncomfortable. Why is that? It's the onus is on the person to figure out why. And because of a happy sign, that's not a happy sign, any sign that says, there's hope, there's resources, will bring you to a point where you're, kind of grunting at it, then please, find out why, get some support and just connection. It's about connection. And we're speaking about uncomfortable topics here. So yeah, it's going to make people uncomfortable.
It's going to be polarizing for sure.
Exactly.
But it could be
okay.
positively polarizing in a way where there's some sort of radical optimism that flows throughout this town, and you're being the champion holding the Liberty torch, trying to free people from their
it's also good to pass torches. I'm all about that, okay? I'm all about passing torches. It's like, here, you can pick it up, because we need an army. Little old me and our beautiful, wonderful Warwick Cares, not enough, but we're not alone. And that's the whole point I'm trying to say, like, hey, we're not alone. Anyone can do this. Anyone can, have this torch, like you are doing right now with your podcast. So we all have our little talents, and whatever it is that, our calling is, our mission, we all have that. So if we can know what that is and use it towards the good, and that's what I believe that 99% of the people do, right? And everything else is just noise. But there's more of us to kind of squash that noise, of unkindness, of unloving things, right? Of other things that you get blasted with. Maybe they have a louder voice right now, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be, because I feel, and I know, because we know how our community works, right? We know our friends that are going to, have this voice and say, yeah, no, we're better than that. We care, we love you, we're here, how can I help you? Really, that's who we are. I really do believe in that humanity part. And the other
Well,
ones will just have to learn.
Yeah. Well, I think, as long as like you keep the mission and keep it going, that, like you said, your team's going to grow. It's going to get out there, and it's a good snowball that's building, right? So once again, Judy Batista, thank you so much for joining us here today. You get in touch with her by going to linktr.ee/Warwick Cares New York. You can make donations of money, or you can make donations of time, or you can just find more information out for yourself and help get the word out about the event this Saturday, May the 4th, over at the Railroad Green in the village of Warwick from 12 to 4. And if it rains, then lloviendo, no problema. Es la dia
de Mayo celebration.
Cinco de Mayo.
But no, it's not going to rain. We already put that out there. It's like, nope, no rain. And if it rains, that's a good blessing too. So what can I say? But I feel that that's it. It's part of the community. And you can also reach me at at our email, which is warwickcaressigns@gmail.com. So that's our email address. Like pretty much everybody has my phone number anyway. So, but all of that is in there. So if you have any suggestions and you want to be a part of this awareness, and even if you're just looking for resources, we definitely we can point you in the right direction. And we're going to be at the community center May 17th. Actually, we're going to be doing a little support starfish social, which is come and share your talents. It's another way to connect people. And then we're also having two trainings coming up. One May 14th and 15th, I believe, and it's going to be the Youth Mental Health First Aid Training, which is a certifiable 6-hour course that you will get certified and learn so much about mental health first aid, right? And then the other one is the Talk Saves Lives, which is what we're doing. We're talking so we can help save lives, and the signs that I'm telling you that we're going to look for. And so I'm going to have that at the public library on May 20th from 4:30 to 7. So we do have a lot of other initiatives, and feel free to call us and find out about it. And or how you can help. Maybe you have a calling for something else. So, and I want to also thank the businesses that have donated to the raffle table. Like I said, the community really comes together when it needs to, and I really am so grateful. And we're gonna have performers there. You have to see these kids. They're gonna be doing some skits about different. I don't want to tell you what it is, but it's really sweet. They're gonna do a great skit.
Yeah. Well, definitely thank you for your time. I want to thank Rachel Bertoni for allowing me to use this space and what she's doing.
Rachel.
And we're going to talk more before the event, but once again, mark it on your calendars. This Saturday, May the 4th, be with all of us. Oh, not just with you, but with all of us. All right, Judy, thank you so much for your time.
Welcome. Thank you. You're awesome. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you for doing this. Okay.
I'm going to stop recording right now.
Go right ahead.
Ooh.